Now the notification came.
Now it's working. Okay. Hello, everyone, and thank you all for joining us today in this great number. It is our pleasure to welcome you to this session. It will be led by our pitch coach, which is a serial entrepreneur also and a speaker at numerous acceleration workshops and conferences, Peterom Bruner. Peter is also a member of the jury at many international pitch competitions, and I'm sure he will bring a wealth of experience in guiding you through this crucial process of pitch preparation, which is, of course, the key to your advancement in the acceleration phase of this program. As we were discussing, the goal of today's session is to present the basics of pitching, outline the whole pitch preparation process, but also to set the foundations and expectations for one-on-one meetings, which each of you will have with him in the coming period. But yes, this will be between you and him. So Peter, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. Like Miroslav already explained to you, I also speak hrvatski, tako da ako bude nešto nerazumljivo, možemo onda malo popričat na hrvatski. Ali sad nazad na engleski. So, hi everybody. Everything starts with a pitch. This is my motto, and because, everything starts with a pitch, I also have to present myself. My name is Peter. I come from Slovenia. I'm a serial entrepreneur, but nobody wants to be a serial entrepreneur. Everybody wants to create one company and succeed, of course, right? So far I created three companies, Winist, Awesome, and Ringo. The first one got investment and was sold. The second one was accepted in Startup Bootcamp in Amsterdam. And we also got investment. And in the end, it was sold to the ex-CEO of the EA Games. And now we have a third company, which is called Ringo. Still ongoing.
Sorry, Peter, I would just like to ask everyone that they mute their audio, because we have a lot of background noise. So it's Dina, Erceg, Igor Kovacic, Milan. As I'm not the host anymore, but Peter is, help him out and just mute your audio if that's possible. And Milan, Jana, if yes, I really yes, it goes. So Dina and Milan are still on, but Peter, feel free to carry on.
Okay. So, like I was saying, I co-founded three companies. One got investment and was sold to the US, even to the famous companies like Loop, which is run by the ex-EA Games. Those younger maybe participants here who played FIFA, they probably know the company. But I also know the fail, because we got accepted to a startup bootcamp. We raised investment. We went to US, but in the end it wasn't successful. So I know both experiences, success and failure. Okay, and now, because of this experience that lead us to all these companies and acceptance to a startup bootcamp accelerator in Amsterdam, our team was able to get 3 international awards for the best pitch, which we won in London for the best e-commerce startup. We got some money. We even met investors that lead us to US, where we actually met our investor and then even a purchaser. So a good pitch is not just to present your idea. It can also lead you to many other ways, to another market where you can actually meet new people. So it's not just presentation of your idea. And I was really lucky because in Amsterdam, I was trained by David Beckett. He was one of the first TEDx coaches. I hope you know the conferences. Usually the conferences was really, different, but he made a rule that everybody has like 10, 15 minutes maximum to present their idea, and in this time, you can actually present the whole idea. And he also started, the framework for TEDx conferences. So I was coached by this man, and I was really lucky, because he made me into what I am today regarding the pitching. So today's pitch workshop should be like, I would rather do this live, right, with everybody of you, but it's too many of you and it's hard. But still imagine that we are sitting in a place like this with a long, big table, and we are just having a conversation, right? So whenever you have any questions during the pitch, let's have a conversation. You just, raise your hand, type something in the chat, or just, unmute yourself and start speaking and ask me anything, because I would really like for us to have a conversation instead of just me having all the time the lecture. So maybe the first question for you guys, just to break the ice, just to, hear your voices. Can somebody tell me what is pitch? What do you think, in your own words, it can be also in Croatian, what pitch is?
Short presentation of something really quickly.
Okay, yes, Mislav, good, but not totally correct. It's a presentation, it's part of the pitch. What do you think else?
Sell yourself and your product.
Yes, that's too, but still, I'm looking for one specific word.
It's a selling proposition.
Getting to the investors.
Yes, you're
getting
both.
Idea to the investors.
Yes, you're both right. I was hearing already the partial word, which is,
inspiring others with your idea.
Yes, that as well. So, drawing attention, Igor wrote, all good answers. So basically, it's our voice, it's our appearance, it's presentation. It doesn't matter if it's our product or service or of ourselves, because sometimes we are the brand, like influencers. But the main idea is that pitch is a sale, because the goal of the pitch, in the end, however you take it, however you turn it, it should lead to a sale. And just because of this mindset that you put in your mind, that the next time that you are pitching to somebody, you should be selling, right? Don't take it just as a presentation of your product or appearance or your voice or, your idea or, be liked by investors. Do a sale. So they will buy it, they will invest, they will click it, they will, want to know more. Do a sale, right? So if you put it in your mind, it's going to be easier. So where can we use it is the next question. Now that you know that basically pitch is a sale, where can we use it? Anybody?
Everywhere?
Yes, basically that is the correct answer. So we can use it actually on Instagram, right? Because now this is a really popular platform for younger generation. We basically put every photo of our product on Instagram. And, why Instagram? Because only a short presentation, like one single photo with a title and maybe some subtitle, can already be our pitch, right? So the next time that you're posting on Instagram, use it as a sale. So don't just post, oh, it's a nice environment today in our office. Always need to close on something, right? We always need to lead our user or listener or potential buyer to something, right? So even a post on Instagram can already be, a sales technique. And also, Facebook, of course, pitching in front of partners in a meeting. Let's say that we go to a meeting to some company, or pitching in front of investors. Pitch is a sale. Remember that. So today we're going to talk about pitch that sells. It's not just a presentation, like I said, but actually selling the idea. But before we go into that, I want to show you, sorry, a really bad example. Of course, this is, a basically a clip from the IT Crowd, which is a English comedy series. And I took a clip outside of this TV show just to give you an idea how funny and how wrong it can be. But remember, it's really, really real. This happens all the time. And I'm going to start it right now. I hope that you will hear the sound, and later on we will discuss it. Can you hear the sound? Can somebody confirm it? No?
No.
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 All right, then I have to share another screen. Just give me a second.
There is option in share share sound. You need to click that.
Okay. So I have to stop the share probably. And okay, 1 second.
When you open the share window on the right side, there is an option share sound. Click that.
Yeah. Okay, share sound. I did that, but it didn't come through. But no worries, I'm gonna open web base. So now I'm gonna try again. Can you hear the sound now? Okay. Let's check it out. It's only 1 minute and a half.
Jen, Roy and Morris are IT professionals with Renham Industries. They walk up the stairs and across the room. They nod at the dragons. One of them, Morris, puts a case on a chair. The dragons are beside piles of money with pens.
Women in the workplace.
Take your time.
Women working in a workplace environment. Work in workplaces where they work. And as a woman, as a worker, as a woman worker who works in the workplace, sorry, a bit of asthma.
We are looking for £400,000 for 2%. We welcome your questions.
Of course, it's a parody, but this is basically quite close to the truth. So what do you think? Sorry.
The SE Light
Just have
combines
to-
a glossy finish with molded in colors to create 5 gorgeous looks.
It was a commercial that doesn't want
The
to stop.
Smith nozzle uses a
So I'm back. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So what do you think about this example? Does it happen a lot to you guys? I mean, even, you're not prepared or something like that, because the harsh reality about all this pitching being bad is 84% of all pitches are bad. This is like really, really high number. And there are reasons, 3 main reasons for this. And the first of all is no preparation. Because people, especially young startups, and especially young companies, they build their products, right? They start their own product, they design it, they think about it, they research it. So basically, you know basically everything about your product, right? So why would you need to prepare? Of course, you need to prepare, because no preparation doesn't make you a master. Great preparation makes you a master. And even if you know everything about your product, your service, your startup, you still need to practice a lot, because the pitch is not just one. We can have 1 minute pitch in front of somebody in elevator, because we call it elevator pitch, or some partner that we meet, for example, in some commercial trade show. Or we have a 7-minute investor pitch where we need to put in the numbers, presentation of our product, demonstration of the product, explanation of the market size and the potential, right? So we really need to prepare. And if we don't prepare, people only have 8 seconds of attention span. So that means that if you're talking to somebody and you're longer than 8 seconds in explaining something, like using long sentences, and you're basically turning and turning and turning until you basically answer the question, people's mind will just wander off. So that means every 8 seconds, you need to make it more interesting, right? So it's really hard. And not just that, this is only speaking in front of people. What if we have to post something on Instagram? We have maybe 1 second to impress somebody to click on our picture link, and that would lead us to your website. So preparation is everything. It's number 1 rule for that high number that basically gives us 84% of all pitches are bad, because there is no preparation. Reason number 2, wrong focus. So again, when we are first-time entrepreneurs, we are loving our idea, we want to speak about our idea. Our idea is king. Of course, we want to know everybody to hear about our idea. And we explain everything about our idea. But the focus should be on our customers. So what does our idea bring to those customers? So that gap, that step forward to a potential buyer, it's really more important than the focus on your idea. Yes, phones are basically, if you think about Apple, Samsung, or any other Android or Chinese brands of the phone, they're basically today they're all the same, almost the same. They have the all quality glass, they have all quality cameras, they have quality casing, all that, and software as well, right? So what is the differentiation part of the phone that somebody buys iPhone and somebody buys, let's say, Samsung, right? Because they're both quality phones, right? So what would be that focus on the customer, right? So it's not just about elements anymore. It's more about the experience which our customer gets, because the experience from using iPhone or the experience from using Samsung is different. And people who like one experience buy one phone, and people who like different experience buy that phone. Of course, they have all great qualities, but the focus should be on your buyer, not so much on the product itself. And the third problem why so many pitches are bad is because we love our product. We want to explain everything about our product, and we want to explain everything at once, which is a mistake. We want to, suffocate our customers with information, but the answer would be, don't suffocate them, lead them, right? So give them one information, lead them to another information, lead them to a third information. So don't put, all the information on the landing page of your web page, but, give them like a nice, beautiful title and lead them down to more information. Like, we post a picture on Instagram, that somebody likes, they click it, they share it, somebody else sees it, they click the link, they land on your webpage, they scroll down, so they have more information, they can read more information if they're interested, and slowly coming to that buy button when they purchase your product. The process is not quick like this. It takes time, right? So don't suffocate them with too many details. Give them one information after another. So if we repeat, no preparation, so we need to prepare really a lot. Of course, wrong focus. We need to focus more on our customers than on our solution. And don't suffocate them with too much information. If they will be interested, they will click and read more and scroll down more. Okay, so the 3 mistakes which we will learn how to improve. And, somebody says, I don't know how to pitch. Of course you do. And everybody does. It's just the practice. And I will give you an example. When you were young, when you were kids, you were already pitching. And you were pitching good, believe me. Because when you wanted a new toy, or maybe a trip, or a sleepover with some friends, or play date, you were pitching really good because you knew your customers pretty well, because your customers were actually living with you in the same house, your parents, right? So you needed to pitch to your parents, you convince them, and you knew them really well, so you knew which buttons to push, so they would buy you that desired toy. Which brings us, your customer was here really well known and researched. So the second time that you were pitching was maybe for a date, like when you were in a, let's say, middle ages, like 20, 30 years old, you were pitching to go on a date. And at that point, your customer was not so very well known as your parents, right? So you were observing your customer, your potential date, right? So you were observing, talking to her or his friends, you were watching maybe her social profiles, maybe you were observing her in the school or on your job, and slowly you were preparing and building and practicing your pitch. And in the end, if the pitch was successful, you could go on a date. If the pitch was bad, the date didn't happen, right? And now, when we are talking about business, the business profile of our customer is unknown, especially if we sell online, let's say e-commerce companies. We don't know so much our customers, but we need to research and know real well of them, right? Because the more we understand our audience, the more we understand our customers, the easier will be, to pitch to them, to sell to them, to push those buttons, like when we were children and we were convincing our parents, the easier for us is going to be pitching and selling our products. So learn about your customers as much as possible. How old are they? Where they live? What are their, processes in the day from work to home and so on. Learn as much as possible, and you will know which buttons to push. Okay, and there is a rule of 3. So when we were talking about too many information, giving to our potential buyers, the limit of that information is 3. And I will show you an example. It's basically all around us, the rule of 3. In poems, in sayings, in phrases, when we say 3, 4, go, we don't say 3, 4, 5 and go, right? Or we say hip, hip, hooray. We don't say hip, 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 hooray. We don't say it 4 times. We say it 3 times. And you think about songs, you will see it. The rule of 3 is everywhere around us. And this is the maximum information that basically our brain, human brain, can take and remember. If you add one more information, it will just confuse because we are used to it. It's like everywhere in nature is the rule of 3. So this is the psychology behind the pitching. The 3 information that you serve to your customer or potential listener or investor, they will remember it easier than any other information. But the rule of 3 is really, really strict. So when I'm talking, my voice is already information number one. If I have a slide, like you're seeing here, this hand with 3 fingers, this is information number 2. If I would put a title to that slide, this would be information number 3. So no text, just me, I am the text, picture, and a title, and it's already enough information. So the next time maybe you're posting something to Instagram, remember the rule of 3. It's better to then add text under the picture, because like I said, you need to lead your customer from one step to another. And if they see the picture and they are, interested to see more, they will click on read more and they will read more. And if they're interested even more, they will click the link to the website. So this is, for example, a bad old, let's say, commercial on the highway of McDonald's, which is not respecting the rule of 3. But this is the old commercial, years and years ago. And we can see, that on this billboard, there is not much information, right? It's the picture of a burger. It's a big title, please do not eat the billboard. It's a simple subtitle, all white meat chicken. And of course, there is a logo with a slogan of McDonald's, I'm loving it, right? So not really a lot of information. So you would think, this is not really hard to remember, right? But this is on a highway and you're driving 130 kilometers per hour. And at the same time, before this billboard, there were 20 more billboards. And after this billboard, there were 20 more billboards. So altogether, you're like more than 40 billboards. And let's say that on one billboard, there was a really nice sandwich and you are hungry, right? So what do you remember in the end? So at the same time, the information on this billboard is maybe too much. So the new commercial that McDonald's is using is this. 3 rule of 3 information on the billboard. You have a big billboard, it says a title, and there is a partial logo, which basically, subliminally leads you to the right. And of course, they are a known brand, they can afford this, but you almost immediately know what's going on. And if you want more information, you turn right, and at the McDonald's restaurant, you can have all the information as you want. Do you agree with me? Or do you think that somebody has any comment on that?
Everything has sense what you're talking about.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Darko. Okay. So the rule is less is more, because today we are really bombarded with information. You go from your home, you already maybe check your phone, there is information in your phone. You sit in your car, you drive to your job or university or whatever, and you are listening to the radio, they give you more information. You step out of the car and you see commercials in the city, there is more information. You talk to your friend, your head is already full of information. So this is how our consumers feel. Give them less, make them interested to click more and guide them. If you give them a website which is full of text immediately on the first page, they will just zone out, they will go to another website. Believe me, nobody wants to read anymore. Even YouTube videos are now too long. They like Reels, which is 5-second to 10-second videos on Instagram. This is the new trend, right? So less is more, because we are fed up with all the information that is hitting our head on every step. Okay, and one more technique that we are using in pitching is called a white rabbit. White rabbit is basically a strategy that one professor used in MIT in US. Before the really, really long and hard lecture. And this lecture was really important for students to remember because it was just before the final exams. And the professor said, look, students, I have hidden a white rabbit in my lecture. And the one students that will discover where the white rabbit is hiding, he or she will get the highest grade and will not have to do the exam. And for 2 hours, all the students were like this, focusing 100%. Why did he do that? Can anybody tell me?
It's clear to get attention.
Yes, the correct answer, Marco. To get the attention, and then, of course, after the lecture, the students were angry because there was no white rabbit. But the professor said, "Look, guys, I gave you this task, this assignment, because I needed you to focus, and I needed you to remember much of the stuff, because this will be in your exam, and it's really important. And now you can thank me because you will have to study half less for this exam." So this was a strategy, and in the pitch is basically the same. You need to get attention from the second one, right? Because it's really important. Because we are, like I said, we are bombarded with information, and your information needs to stand out. Yes, Miroslav.
Yes, I didn't want to interrupt you, but Igor Beloshevich asked in a chat, in a pitch we are preparing for, should we talk to our final customers or to this particular pitch committee?
Yes, so we don't have just one pitch, right? If you go to the pitch committee or some competition, prepare for that competition. If you talk to the customer, you prepare another pitch, which is for customers. If you're doing partnerships with some companies, you need to prepare a pitch for that. Like I said, if you have a post on Instagram for a certain, public, prepare for that. If you have a niche pitch, let's say that you're doing deep tech in some rocket science, don't pitch it on Facebook to everybody, but pitch it to that exact niche. So I hope that answers your question. So the idea here, how we use it in our company, which is called Ringo, I told you about, before releasing the ad, because in my company, we are targeting Airbnb hosts, Airbnb. And before releasing the ad, we use the white rabbit, which is basically just holding this white paper because we were advertising in Germany. And before showing our real ad, this was, written on the paper. So Airbnb hosts of the fast, which means, attention. Why? Because they recognize themselves, because we are targeting Airbnb hosts, and they recognize themselves, and they saw this, and they, because this is, commercial, they could just swipe to another, because, on Facebook or Instagram, we swipe, and they stopped, and the left commercial, which was continued by the normal video, and the right one, which was just a normal video, the left one was so much more successful than the right one, because we actually get their attention. So the idea,
Peter,
yeah,
can you just enlarge the screen, because we are seeing the whole screen and not just your presentation.
Okay. Can you see now?
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay.
Thank you.
So yeah, like I said, on the left side, there was basically an intentional white rabbit strategy where we put like a white paper, just a simple 1 second, idea, which was much more successful than just playing the ad. Because, when you start the ad can be starting to speak about some problem, where maybe they don't recognize themselves. But if you give them the idea who the video is for, then they will put more focus on it. So the same goes, when focusing on the client in the beginning of the pitch, getting their attention, the same happens after the pitch, right? You need to end your pitch with a bang, right? With something really important. So don't just say thank you in your pitching, because when you're pitching in front of investors, say maybe thank you for your attention, and I hope to see you, or meet you, or share a contact with you. Be something different. Have some kind of a call to action in the end. Like when you're posting on Instagram, for example, you don't just post a picture and the weather is nice and that's it, right? You want something, right? You want something that somebody would comment, that they would share, that they would visit, click your landing page on your website, any call to action. So any commercial, any advertisement, any pitch in front of people should, lead to some call to action. You don't go just to a meeting to a company, let's say a potential partner, And after the meeting, you say, hey, thank you for meeting me. Really nice coffee. I hope you enjoyed my presentation. Goodbye. No, you say, what is the next step, right? What should we do next, right? So always have ABC closing on your pitch, always. So the idea is, we give them a hook. We give them a nice story that they are interested and motivated, and then you give them an offer. And this offer can be different, like I just explained, right? Hook in the beginning, beautiful story, presentation of your product, and offer or any other call to action. So, does any of you have stage fright? I know I do, and I did like probably hundreds of pitching in front of my biggest one crowd. I think was maybe 800 something investors on demo day for the startup bootcamp in Amsterdam. And yes, I feel it. I also feel it right now because even before the start, I don't know you guys, right? And when I started the presentation, you just get this some kind of energy and a little bit nervousness, right? Maybe not so much when I started doing the pitch, but now I still feel it. So how about you guys? Do you have stage fright? We are all human.
Maybe a little, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Everybody has, but this is good, because fear makes you more focused, makes you more energized, makes you more, how to say, motivated. That's good. And, there is a lot of cures for that, especially if you have a team. I would suggest that you practice in front of your team, it can be just a natural environment in a coffee shop or in a meeting in your office. Just practice in front of your team because, they will be great judges because they expect from you the best, right? And they will also give you the most honest answers, For example, hey, Miroslav, this will not go good, through. So we need to change this, So they will be a really good judge for you. Of course, don't ask your parents or spouses because they love you and they will just want you the best and they will not be really honest with you. So better your team or random people. And of course, film yourself when doing the practice of your pitch because who is the worst judge than yourself? Right? You will be to yourself the worst judge because you will see maybe you're shaking too much, maybe you're nervously stepping from one foot to another, right? Maybe you are not speaking in like a nice monotone voice, you will be the best judge to yourself. So I would record myself when practicing the pitch to see what mistakes am I doing. And of course, one really good cure for the stage fright is also to be prepared in advance. Of course, a lot of practice of your pitch, but I'm not just talking about practicing the pitch now. For example, let's say that you're meeting an investor in a coffee shop. You need to be early. Why? Because you need to prepare, not just prepare for your pitch, but also open your computer, find where the electricity is, ask for the Wi-Fi, see the toilet, where the toilet is, if you need to rush to the toilet, and you will look professional. Imagine if the investor is already waiting for you and you're coming there and you are late, you are sweating, you're looking for the electricity, you're asking the bartender for the Wi-Fi. You don't look professional. And imagine you're waiting for them. You ask them, hey, sir, madam, would you like to have a glass of water? My name is Peter. Here is your seat. Please give me 2 minutes and I will start my presentation. How is your day? It's different, right? It's not just about preparing your pitch. It's about preparing yourself. And for example, if you have a pitch competition, be there early as well. See the stage, see the lights, see where you will be standing. Because if you are thrown onto the stage without any knowledge where to stand, where you're going to be even more nervous. And also, there is one more trick for those people who are really, really, nervous. The trick is that you learn 1 minute of your pitch by heart. And when I'm talking about by heart, I'm saying if I wake you up in the middle of the night at 4 a.m. and I say, hey, Miroslav, wake up and give me the pitch, and you give me the pitch. Learn it only 1 minute, because when you're on stage and you're really nervous and your head goes into darkness, black, everything's black, there is no light, you don't even remember what you're saying, that minute that you learned so much will come out of you. The words will make sense, the people will listen to you, and you will see that you are actually basically saying something smart. Your body will start to relax. And after 1 minute, I promise you, you will be normal and you will be able to continue. So that's the trick for the really, really nervous people who are afraid of speaking in front of people. And of course, people are looking at you, right? Like those guys here staring at you because you are the only one, you know, speaking, and you are, you know, the point of attention. And this can be really sometimes, you know, uncomfortable. But remember, people want you to succeed. Have you ever been in a situation, you know, when you were sitting in a crowd and somebody was on stage and that person had problems speaking? How did you feel? I feel, you know, that I want to help that person, right? Because that person is, you know, having problems. I just want to help somehow that person would be able to continue speaking. And this is how people feel about you, right? They want to help you. And if you put it in your mind for the next time that you're speaking in front of people, it will be easier for you because they want you to succeed. They want to hear the best story. They don't want to hear, you know, not so good, the best story, you know? So remember that people want you to succeed, and it's going to be also easier for you to be in front of the people. Okay, so now this was the pitch basics, but I want to show you now good examples, because in the beginning we saw a really bad example, which was parody, but of course, you know, this was a really true case. That's why I'm using that clip from that parody British TV show. Now we're gonna check some good examples. So I'm gonna share again the videos. I'm gonna stop sharing this and prepare the video. Just give me a second. Okay. I will just play it for a second so you can tell me if you hear the sound. Okay.
My name is Josh Light.
Yeah, good. Okay. So just some introduction before the video starts. It's basically a really short pitch. And remember, these are good examples. We will discuss every pitch because I intentionally put some videos that have something and missing something, and we will discuss it in the end. This is basically a student pitching to investors with some university competition in US. He's speaking really fast, you know, native Americans. But I will not tell you more. Listen, try to remember as much information as possible, even though, you know, he will be speaking really fast. But we will discuss it in the end. Let's check it out.
My name is Josh Light, and I'm the CEO of CupAd, and we believe that we have the most effective form of advertising available in the market today. Our advertisements are exposed to customers for 2,220 seconds on average. Now, what kind of advertising has that kind of exposure time? Ladies and gentlemen, we advertise on coffee cups. That's right, we put your brand in their hand. So how does coffee cup advertising work? Well, we got an advertiser. They pay us money. We produce paper coffee cups with their advertisement or brand on it. Then we give these coffee cups to coffee stands for free. Now, why does someone want to advertise on a coffee cup? Because it takes an individual 37 minutes to drink a cup of coffee on average. That person's going to have to look at the cup, drink, look at the cup, drink 20 times before it's fully consumed. And that person's going to move around like a mobile billboard, exposing that brand to at least 6 different individuals before that cup is drank. What's in it for CupAd? We make 13 cents of profit on every single cup that we distribute. And what's in it for the coffee stands? Well, when most people think about coffee stands, they think about Starbucks. But what about the 25,000 coffee stands in this nation that have plain white cups like this? They don't have the economies to scale to put their own brand on the cup. So we give them free cups. They save $15,000 a year by not buying cups. They like these savings so much, ladies and gentlemen, that approximately 80% of the stands that we've contacted have signed exclusivity agreements to distribute our cups. What kind of momentum have we started for this company? The last month alone, we got 58 coffee stands in California to sign exclusivity agreements with us to distribute our cups. If we continue to get 58 coffee stands every single month, for the next 12 months, we will have 700 coffee stands at the end of the year. With 700 coffee stands, we can move 8 million cups a month. And at 13-cent profit, 8 million cups a month, we're making over $1 million of profit every single month. And we've already started this, ladies and gentlemen. In fact, our first customer, Overstock.com, will see their cups hit the California market in 21 days. Thank you very much.
All right. So I want to hear your thoughts, what you like and what you don't like, and why.
I think it's really very good. I thought that there is no single misinformation or information that it's not important. Our attention is constantly high. It's in the good rhythm. The numbers are very simple, and it leads to the conclusion that this is a good business.
Okay. Thank you, Marco. Nice comments. You're correct. Anybody else?
May I?
Yes, yes.
Hello. Well, you have a lot of twos, which when you hear the presentation can confuse you a little bit of. It is a tricky, I mean, it's the pitch trick, I assume, but it can be in a moment hard to hear. What is 2? What is 22? What is 2020? And you have a lot of 2, like the same word repeating, and that can be a problem when you're an investor and you don't know what is what in this kind of pitch. It can mislead you, I think.
Yes, I agree. But for example, you know, these are Americans, right? So he's speaking in front of his own crowd. If somebody would speaking Croatian in front of Croatian public, probably there wouldn't be that kind of problem. Maybe for us, because we're listening.
It's the same number, you know, you hear always the same thing. That's the impression. You don't, but the impression is, that is my impression. You always hear the same thing.
Okay. Thank you, Lela. And Anya, raised hand.
Yes, I would like to say, so if I would be, let's say, in the committee, I would say for this pitch that I'm missing the soul somehow, because it's so much really about, I mean, the presentation was really fluent and everything makes sense. And it was really like from A to Z, he covered everything. But for me, it's somehow empty of the juice. If I would be the investor.
I hear you. And of course, I agree. You know, like it's really plastic. It's fast. Exactly. And I just want to hear your thoughts. But of course, yes, you know, if you have a good, passionate story, you know, then of course this would be, you know, something with the soul, something more attractive, something more interesting, right? Also, Valentina raised hands before I continue. Please, Valentina.
Yes, I think it's also important who is in jury, women or men. Women like soft story, feelings, and something like that, and the man likes a straight. It's like technician, a lot of technician and similar. So it depends who is in jury too, I think.
Yes, of course. That's why we don't prepare just one pitch. You know, like I said before, you know, if you go in front of the partners, we have one pitch. And if you have like 2 business models, you know, that one is like for distributing your product and the one is for direct sales to your customers, you have to have 2 different pitches, right? Because, you know, you cannot really use the one for distributors to the final client, right? You need to have different ones. And of course, you know, depends on when we are advertising, let's say on Facebook, you know, we don't just advertise to everybody, right? We don't have that kind of money. Nobody does, right? We need to focus on one group, and we test that group, and then the second group, and you know, we use different, let's say visuals, and this is how the pitch can be different for different crowd and different crowd. Yes, of course, I totally agree. It's very interesting that nobody of you basically mentions that he doesn't use presentation, because you know, this would be really interesting to hear why doesn't he use any presentation. Because sometimes it's really important that we put our character into the pitch. You know, it's really important that we need to be who we are, right? We don't just create a pitch and then learn it by heart. We need to write the pitch down and we say it like it's from us, right? And a lot of people, especially young startups, they like to pretend in front of investors, you know, how good and great they are, and they don't show their personalities, right? But, you know, marrying investor, basically I'm saying marrying because this is how it is when you sign a contract, is like a marriage. And if you fake it and, you know, and then show your true colors, then the divorce will be really expensive, believe me. So you need to be yourself. And this guy here, he is himself. And I was waiting for this question. Sometimes appears, sometimes it doesn't. Why he doesn't use the presentation? Look at his movement across the stage. He's not sitting in or standing in one location, and he is moving around the stage, showing the product in his hands, and he is the presentation. Right? He's that kind of energetic person. If I would ask you to describe him, he's an energetic person moving around the stage. Sometimes he even kneels down, picks up the product. Maybe if he would have the crowd close to him, he would give it to somebody in his hands. He's that kind of a person. You know, I have a friend who is the same. You know, energetic. He likes to go to the crowd and shake hands and give the product to somebody and talk to directly one person in the crowd. You know, because, you know, this is how it is. And his presentation, his speech, he still has slides, but he uses maybe like 5 slides altogether in his 7-minute pitch, because he is basically the presentation of the pitch. So the point of this example was also to use your character, be who you are, and do the pitch in your own way. Nobody tells you stand in this X spot and do the pitching. It's not like that. Today, you can be creative as much as possible because you need to stand out. Okay? Okay, so let's check another example, another video. Just let me open it. And by the way, if you have any questions regarding this, you can, of course, ask anytime. Okay. Sharing. All right, so just to give you a little bit of introduction before we see this new example, I hope you know Mad Men. This is basically a TV show which was really popular on TV from US. It's about Madison Avenue, Mad Men. Madison Avenue was the venue where in the 40s and 50s in US, you know, it was the biggest street where all the agencies, you know, erupted, and they were basically, you know, trying to help Coca-Cola and similar companies, you know, to boost the sales. This was one of the first times that, you know, companies used agencies, you know, to promote them, to help them grow, to make better advertisements, basically pitching. And here we will see one example, which is, to warn you, totally different than the first one that we saw. And I will not tell you anymore. Let's check it out, and we will discuss it after we watch it.
This is Joe Harriman and Lynn Taylor. No Eastmans today, unfortunately. They're all back in the lab.
It's a wonderful facility, but they don't take vacations.
What do they show? Slides of them working?
So, have you figured out a way to work the wheel into it?
We know it's hard because wheels aren't really seen as exciting technology, even though they are the original.
Well,
Technology is a glittering lure, but there's the rare occasion when the public can be engaged on a level beyond flash, if they have a sentimental bond with the product. My first job, I was in-house at a fur company with this old pro copywriter, Greek, named Teddy. And Teddy told me the most important idea in advertising is new. Creates an itch. You simply put your product in there as a kind of calamine lotion. But he also talked about a deeper bond with the product. Nostalgia. It's delicate, but potent. Sweetheart. Teddy told me that in Greek, nostalgia literally means the pain from an old wound. It's a twinge in your heart, far more powerful than memory alone. This device isn't a spaceship. It's a time machine. It goes backwards and forwards. It takes us to a place where we ache to go again. It's not called the wheel. It's called the carousel. It lets us travel the way a child travels. Round and around, and back home again. To a place where we know we are loved.
Good luck at your next meeting.
All right. Let me hear your thoughts.
Emotional storytelling.
Yes. Really emotional.
Really emotional. Okay, it's part of the series, so it's staged completely. But the point is that he really play hard on emotion, and he's sincere, and they all feel it. So for me, this is really strong emotional part, but in the basic is a storytelling.
Yes. Great comments. I agree. Yes, Anya?
Yes, I would agree with the colleagues. So it's fully authentic and this can be felt. So I think it's really powerful. It's not just the storytelling, blah, blah, but it's really somehow his story coming through him, and then the audience can really feel it. So I think it's a great example.
It's real. It's real. Miroslav, you raised a hand.
Yes, I just wanted to add it's that this emotional part is so strong because it's personal. If you put just stock pictures into the carousel, it doesn't mean anything. It's the story and the product is not so it's not looking so well anymore. The personal touch is the key element.
Yeah, exactly.
But can you?
One thing. Yes.
Sorry. Can you imagine this pitching without the sound in background? Just imagine that what what was inside of this room, it's completely different feeling. So most of them, it would be too boring. So my opinion, it's somewhere in between the first example and the second example would be the perfect pitch.
Yeah, true. But today you can do the pitching in your own creative way, right? If you need sound, if you need background sound, why not use it? If that makes the whole shebang, why not? I'm giving you here examples how you can be really creative. But one really important fact about this pitch is that he's doing the pitch for, at that time, let's say, IT product. This carousel, it's basically slide projector, was only used in companies, in boardrooms, like we just saw. So it was only used for like projections, financial projections, business planning, all that stuff. What happens if you add emotions to the IT product? That's my question.
Sorry, you open up a new market.
Yes, exactly. So before the gents in the beginning, they said, this is, sold by company to company, and not that interesting product. You add emotions, who can buy it? Every household in America, every family, right? So it's a totally different market. You can sell it, by characteristic, how good it is, how, long the cable for plugging it is, how, you don't have to change the bulbs, or how many slides does it take, and everything like that. You do the pitch like this, and how can be useful to presentations in boardrooms. You show me this in this kind of way, with emotions, personalization, you can sell it to every household. It's a B2C market, not B2B anymore. So, adding emotions to a product, think about it. What can it do? Can you actually add emotions to a product? If not, can you do maybe a personal story? Can you do some personalization? Like Anya mentioned, it has to have a soul. Depend on what you're selling and how are you selling. But when you do it with emotions, you have to speak slowly. You have to make long pauses, right? You don't have to jump like the first guy on one side of the stage to the another. So you really have to, prepare for that pitch, because it will take a lot of practice to do that really good. But if you are that kind of character, you can also use your character to do the pitch like this. Sometimes, we have different personas. One is energetic and one is totally uninterested, standing still with not really powerful voice. So how do we use his character? Well, we had one guy, really small, really tiny, standing on one place, really, let's say, passive more than active, but he had a great dark humor, which we used, of course, in a healthy measurement in his speech, and the people loved it. The people laughed and remembered his speech. So you be who you are, use yourself, use your character, and do the pitch your own way. Okay, let's see the third example, which is again totally different, and it will give you another perspective on pitching. I promise. Just let me share it. Second. All right, here we go. This guy is also a pitch coach. His name is Christoph. He's from Berlin, and he's going to do an interesting pitch about the city of Berlin. And we will discuss it after we see it.
Hi, I'm Christoph, and I want to pitch you my new startup. It's called Berlin, and we're in the startup home as a service business. Before I talk about our product, I want to quickly give you a little bit of company history, okay? We were actually founded in 1237. We went pretty strong for a while there, but then we got the wrong CEO in 1933. So we almost went bankrupt in 1945. Thankfully, we got investors afterwards. They bailed us out, got rid of the CEO, gave us a new chance. But then they started fighting, so we had to pivot to do two different products for a while there, one for communists and one for capitalists. That was obviously bullshit because we lose our focus doing that. Thank God, in 1989, this ended. We got new investors in. and we started working towards the product that we have today. So what problem is our product solving today? The problem is clear. You know that working on the go is amazing, but once you really get serious about your startup, you need one place to get your team together and work from there. While, of course, there's other companies already offering this, I think none of them have totally nailed it, but we do nail it, and I'll tell you why. As a startup, you need amazing talent, and ideally, you get that talent by paying them peanuts. But that can't work if this is true in your city. So if this is true, then you don't get people because you can't get them cheap. Obviously, this also means that if there's good jobs in a city, people are going to work there and not at your startup. So that's bad. Also, let's talk about distractions. If you live in a city like this, how are you going to focus on your startup? Also, if it's just too pretty, if it's too sunny, or if there are other distractions, you're not going to get shit done, okay? But you need to do that for your startup. And also, who wants to do a startup in a city where you have to dress up all the time and look perfect? Sorry, Milano, but you're out. That doesn't work for me. I don't want to shower in the morning when I'm a founder. We have a solution to that problem. It's called Berlin, okay? Berlin, where dressing up is not a problem. Where too pretty is not a problem. Where too sunny definitely is not a problem. This is our beta. We still have some work to do on the front end, as you can see, but we have a very strong product vision, and it's going to look amazing. There's definitely no good jobs in Berlin, so your employees are not going to run away. Actually, our former mayor said Berlin is poor but sexy, and that's been the motto of the city ever since. Also, we don't want distractions, so we surrounded Berlin by this. There is no way you're going there on the weekend. You're coding. You're coding, focusing on your startup. The only thing you need, once in a while, a little bit of time to relax. For that, we have the best nightclubs in the world, okay? Berlin has always been a very creative city. People do creative shit there all the time. This guy did his best work in the 70s in Berlin. If he was able to do that, so can you. There's a ton of talent to hire. Oh, sorry, that's the wrong picture. Anyway, there's a ton of talent to hire in Berlin, and it's also very easy to get people to move to Berlin because everybody loves being there. Americans have always loved the city, right? So it's very easy to get American investors to come to Berlin, invest in your startup. But they might show up to your meeting totally hungover because of this, okay? That's the downside. Looking at location, Berlin is right in the middle of that map, which means you can get anywhere really fast. And this is only going to get better once we open our new airport in 2007. Oh, that didn't work. 12, 15, no. 2018, maybe it's going to open. In Berlin, 15 bucks buys you this, okay? Or rather, 11 bucks. So no water for 15 bucks in Berlin. I want to be honest with you. We still have some bugs. Our product isn't perfect. For one, most of our product works in the English language, but sometimes you will need German to deal with stuff in Berlin. And this being an actual German word, good luck, okay? Also, Germans are grumpy, as you know. They don't have a sense of humor at all. Deal with it. If you move to Berlin, you see a bus driver, don't talk to them, don't look at them, don't ignore them. They will be pissed off and they will be very rude. Also, we know we have too many hipsters, but we're working on all of those bugs. We're trying to get rid of them. You have to understand, Berlin is part of a bigger product package called Germany, right? But Berlin is not Germany. I can assure you, when you use our product, Berlin, you don't have to use any of the weird features that the product Germany has, okay? So none of that. Our market is huge. It's basically 1 billion potential founders from around the world. If we can get only 1% of that to Berlin, it's gonna be super crowded, okay? So let's do that. Business model, very simple. Our product is free to use, but we have in-city purchases. So we will sell you anything from soft drinks to haircuts, and that's how we make our money. And if you sell your startup, we will take 50% of it, and we call it taxes. And yes, we pay our taxes in Germany, okay? Looking at the competition, I think this is very simple. Berlin is winning on that front. Now you're asking, do we have any traction? Yes, we already have 3,000 tech startups in Berlin. You wanna know, are they any good? They're fucking great, okay? Here's some of them, you might recognize the logos. Looking at the unicorns in Europe, we have quite a few of them. And let's be honest, what's going on down there, guys? You gotta pick it up, okay? We have an amazing team to run this startup, and we have an amazing advisory board that will help us along the way. Now for you, the question is simple. Do you wanna be this guy or that guy? It's your choice, okay? Thank you.
All right. So what do you think?
Great, funny.
Yes.
Great sense of humor.
I agree. Anything else?
Well, humor sells. So
Yes. Even the serious stuff, like, you know, the new CEO, he packed it in like really nice, positive energy, right? Yes, Anya.
I think he really took the language of the startup. I think he really matched the language of the startup. That's somehow my opinion.
Yes, his speech was actually the perfect investor pitch because later on I will show you also the flow of the pitch. He's basically using everything. So the story in the beginning, some kind of an introduction, then problem, solution, then market size, then competition, then basically every part of the pitch.
No.
And not
But
just
even-
that. Yes?
Even if I would imagine like the decision makers in this special case, I think he really got their brains on board because he really spoke their language. That's somehow I have a feeling.
Okay.
Yeah, but this is...
Yes, and also, next to that, he's using the rule of three in a really, really perfect way. If we check his slides, let's see, big title. Picture and he. So basically, when he's speaking, he's rule number one. And the picture is rule number two. And if there is a title, let's say this too pretty on this picture, it's information number three. So let's check business model. So why doesn't he show all information at once, like this? Why does he show title only, and then first information, and then the second information? Why does he do that?
Follow the story.
Yes.
What he's talking about. But I think, but he did one mistake, I would say, according to the model we got. He used one of the sentences like, if we can get 1% of 1 billion,
yeah.
And in the model, it was said that this is very bad example to pitch yourself, for example.
Yeah, you have to be sure about yourself all the time. I agree.
Yeah.
Okay, so just to return to this slide one more time, it's to keep you focused, because if he would be showing all three things, you know, which in my opinion is not too much information, but he would be explaining in-city purchases, the first information. Your brain, it's just a human nature, will start reading once you exit Texas. He would be still explaining the first information, you will be already reading the second information, and he would lose your focus. Even if there is like so little information, he needs to guide you, right? And he will sell you first the in-city purchases, and you focus on that. And once he gives you another information, you will focus on that and not think about the first one anymore, because the first one you already understand. So this is how the pitching should look like, you know? Don't give them too much information. Every slide should be one information after another. Guide your users, right? If you get me like a history book, I will have problems, you know, studying. We all did in our high school or, you know, schools and elementary schools. But once we go on a trip, and let's say to Egypt, and we see and we are guided from one attraction to another, is so much more interesting. And we remember, even if we are kids, we remember so much more stuff, right? So don't give them the book, guide them, okay? So this is the lesson here. And of course, if you feel that you are that, you know, humorous, funny person, use your character, be that person, put it in your pitch, you know, use humor as much as you want. Yes, and like I said, the rule of three here is really good represented. Okay, So these were the 3 examples. First was really energetic without slides. The second one, music, emotions, story, powerful connection with people, and here humor, and perfect example of rule of 3. Okay, so let's get back on the slides. Just give me a second to share. Okay, and now we are going to the pitch tool, which will help you to start building your pitch. Pitch tool is really similar, like, let's say, to the business canvas tool, but it's about pitching, right? So imagine that you fill out these squares with information. And the most important one is this white square where it says a simple statement of what change you and your product are making in the world. So for the next time, before we meet one-on-one sessions with you guys, please prepare a couple of those sentences. How would you describe your business? What do you do in one sentence? I would like to say for everybody to understand it, but use your target audience to understand it. Okay, so how to describe in one sentence, what do you do? For example, sometimes when we have a really difficult way of explaining our solution, we can use a reference. I will give you an example. Airbnb for parking spaces, right? So everybody in the world almost knows Airbnb. And if we use their reference and say for parking spaces, that would mean that we can actually book some private parking space, for our car to park. Or if I say Uber, because it's also really known, world-known company, Uber for boats, right? We don't have to explain it in a big sentence or description. We just say Uber for boats, which everybody would understand. Taxi for, let's say lakes, rivers, boats, you name it, right? Right, very simple explanation. Why is this important? This is not just important, to put it on your web page. It's important when people who are looking for similar products and have not heard of you quickly understand what you do. And this is important here. When I type in a Google, not really specific, but I'm looking for AI chat app, and there is thousands of them, I need to understand which one is, giving me something that I'm looking for, right? Because I'm not looking something in particular, but I'm looking in general, but I want particular answer. So all these sentences here, titles, it's called meta titles in Google of your landing page, of your web page, they are descriptions. And these descriptions, if they suck, if they're too long, if they're, not really to the point, I will just move to another result, or maybe page 2 or maybe page 3 of the Google research search results. So that's why this statement is really important. And not just that, when you meet somebody for the first time and you shake hands, you say, hey, I'm Peter. And he asks, okay, Peter, so what do you do? You don't want to give them like a 2-minute answer. You want to give them one sentence answer that he understands. Of course, sometimes explanation can start with a question. It doesn't have to be a sentence. I'm trying to make you think outside of the box. So instead of, giving an answer, what do? We say, hey, do you work in this and that area? And if they say yes, then you give them an answer. Otherwise, it's maybe not in your niche public, Okay, so please prepare this one sentence for the one-on-one when we have meetings, and it will be really useful for you guys in the future, I promise you. The rest of the squares are in different colors. First, we have this one, which is pain and gain on the left upper corner, which is talking about what kind of pain are you solving and what are your customers gaining from that. So what is the pain and what is the gain, right? Okay, so think about what kind of problems are you solving and what kind of solution can you offer. And then basically the solution are yellow squares because you present the product, you do the product demo. It can be animation, video, pictures, screenshots, 3D designs, anything. But the best is to have some kind of demonstration that people can easier understand it or remember it. And of course, if you have some uniqueness about your product, also mention it. Okay. If you have any questions while I'm explaining this, just raise your hand, please. And then we go to the green squares, which is intriguing, surprising, and interaction. So intriguing, surprising, it can be a white rabbit or, call to action in the end. Something like, maybe I shouldn't start my pitch on the stage with a presentation like this. Hi, my name is Peter. I'm an entrepreneur, and I'm going to today present you my startup. Because everybody's doing that. Intriguing and more surprising would be, hey, do you know that we are only 1 year old startup and we already signed up a contract, I don't know, with Samsung. And then you say, I'm Peter, and I'll tell you how we did this. So you don't have to have a formal start. You can be really, surprising, intriguing, more interesting, right? So nobody says you need to say your name and your company name before you start your pitch. You can start with a story. You can start something with more surprising. And interaction means interaction with your listeners. So before maybe you go into the pitch, you can have a question and you say, hey, can you raise hands in the public? Let's say, whose house was robbed in the last year or two? This is especially useful because one of our pitchers was selling an alarm system, which was in a shape of a bulb, light bulb. So basically, you put it in your light in the house, and it has sensors inside. It can detect if somebody is in the house, and at the same time, it's imitating that somebody is at home, even if you're not. So the lights come out in the different spaces around the house. If somebody's watching your house, they will see that, right, for like 5 minutes is in the bathroom, for 1 minute in the kitchen, like somebody is walking around the house. But these products are really hard to sell because, doctor services, lawyer services, alarm systems, and similar products are really hard to sell because people don't really need them until they need them, right? So having interaction like this, when you ask somebody in the crowd a question and they raise hands, and other people who are maybe not interested in that kind of product because they live in a peaceful neighborhood, they see a lot of hands going up in the air. And what happens? Effect. They see a lot of hands, and it's a fear factor. So, wow, this is a really serious problem because I see a lot of hands in the air. Even though I live in a peaceful neighborhood where we don't lock our front doors, maybe just as a precaution, I could buy my alarm system. With this kind of interaction, you can actually boost your pitch. So think about it if you can use this kind of way in your pitching. And then we have blue squares, customer traction, business model, and investment, which is basically about finance. Customer traction means how many customers do you have so far. If you don't have any customers, you can show us the progress your company made so far. Like we conducted a lot of interviews with our potential customers. We got a lot of interest. All kind of progress in time is treated as customer traction. Doesn't mean paying customers only. Then business model, like you saw in the Berlin pitch, show me how you're going to make money. We're going to sell products like hair dressing services, drinks, lunches in the city. And if you sell your product, we're going to collect taxes. So basically services and taxes, right? So show me how are you going to make money. And then investment, really simple. Again, the rule of 3, how much money, what for, and where it will take you. For example, we need $1 million to invest in increasing the team because we need more developers to finish and launch the product by 2025 on a German market. How much, what for, and where it will take you. And then the most important part of the pitch is the purple squares. Why you, team, and portable story. Why is this the most important part? Because if you think about it, all the information to your left, all the other colors except purple squares on the right is just information. So I can give you a pitch that we will build another rocket which will be, beat Elon Musk to the Mars, or SpaceX. We're going to beat them. We're going to be faster and better. But when it comes to the team, we don't have any portable story. We say, yes, we were working, as a bartenders with my friends for the last 10 years, but we have this really great idea, and, pitch would be perfect, but we don't have any, experience. Would you invest in me? Probably not. But if I tell you, we are, 5 friends, we are scientists, we are mathematicians, we are physicists, we worked with European Space Agency for the last 10 years, we have all the know-how, then we would be investable, right? So when it comes to the team, it's the credibility, because investors will not work for you. They will give you money for you to bring the product to the market, for you to sell the product, for you to do everything. You will be the executioner. They will give you the money. Yes, they can help you open doors, share contacts, help you boost, but you will have to do the work. So if you don't have the credibility, nobody will invest in you. So when you're speaking about your team, tell us your stories, emphasize how great you are, how much experience do you have, show us the credibility that you are the right person to execute that business idea, and that you will sell it and that you will make it out there. Okay. And of course, story. If you have any personal story, remember, 63% of all entities remember stories. Only 5% remember statistics. That's 12 times less. Before you and after you, there will be another startup. And investors, they get 100 emails per day. You're just a number until you impress them. And stories are more memorable than any other data. If you have your own stories, put it in your pitch. And for the end, this is the pitch flow that we used a lot of times with different startups, 400 plus startups in my portfolio. And I talk a lot of times with investors, what works best, what's not. And this is basically the perfect pitch flow that works investor. And the Berlin pitch guy, who's also a pitch coach, Christoph from Berlin, he's also using the same pitch flow. And it actually works. It's really logical. And let me explain it to you. So we start with some kind of an intro. It can be a white rabbit. It can be your personal story. It can be interaction, you name it. It's up to you how you creatively set it up. Then we deep dive into a problem. And here, our customers, our listeners, they need to recognize the problem. Once they recognize the problem, we give them a solution, right? And we present the solution with demonstration and everything so they understand it. And of course, what happens when they hear about the solution? They start thinking, but I saw somewhere something similar, and immediately you need to shut down those voices with giving them the competition, which is comparison with direct and indirect competition, which means direct competition is if there are similar products like yours, or indirect competition if there is not such a product like yours yet, but people used to do that in another way. For example, before the washing machine, people used to wash clothes by hands, right? So you give this, the washing by hands is basically indirect competition because people can still do it just in a normal, slower, and that's it. You give them the solution, which is a washing machine. It's faster, and they don't have to do it by themselves. They just push a button, right? So you give them the comparison to shut the voices down. Also, one more trick, maybe for your website. What we did, we actually, because in Ringo, we sell a smart lock for apartment buildings. We did a comparison on our webpage. We created a long blog post where we compared every solution to ours. What happens? People don't leave that page because we give them all the information about our competition and they don't have to go and search on their own, right? But you have to be really truthful and you have to speak positively about your competition. No negative, they are not good for this. No, they're great, but we are better in this and that way. Because if you speak negatively about your competition, people will not trust you. So only positive talk about your competition. Okay, and then because we are already talking about the competition, we're talking about market size, basically. So we go into the market size. Here, you need to be the smartest person in the room. You need to show your knowledge about the market, where it's moving, what are the trends, where it's going to be in 5 years, what are the movers, everything. You need to impress the investor about the market size knowledge, because they need to understand that you understand it really well, because you're going to be the guy executing your business idea. And once we talk about the market size, of course, business model is part, of it. And as we say, like market size is like a big cake, business model is a piece of cake that you're going to take for yourself. So in business model, show us how you're going to make money, subscriptions, e-commerce, online sales, services on location, you name it. Show me how you're going to make money. And then, of course, we come to the most important part of the pitch, team, where we show our credibility, that our team is credible enough to execute this idea, so investor will see that you're investable. And after the team, I would put traction, because it makes your team even stand out even more, because you show me the credibility in the team slide, and in traction slide, you say, look, my team is not just credible enough, we even did this and that, which traction is progress in time. Can you show me some progress which you already made? And after that, you can ask for money, investment. How much, what for, and where it will take you. Like I give an example, 1 million to invest in my team, to increase the team, so we can finish the product by 2025 and launch it on a German market. How much, what for, and where it will take you. Or if you don't need money, any other call to action. We need contacts in automotive industry in, let's say, Pakistan. We want to go to US market. We need a soft landing there. Can you give us any context to go there? Any kind of call to actions. Remember, investors, even if they don't invest in you, they can share the context. They know people. They can open doors. They can maybe know another investor who would invest in you or would be interested in investing in you. Finish with a call to action in your own idea. So that's basically the pitch flow. I can even share after the presentation the pitch canvas and the pitch flow with you. Anyway, you will have this recording, right, Miroslav? So you can check it again. This is it from me, guys. Hope you enjoyed. I hope that I opened your heads a little bit more outside of the box to give you some more reasons how to use pitch, because it's really important to remember sales is not just presenting your business ideas. And next time you post something on social media or send an email, take it as a sale, not just a presentation of your business idea. And I'm looking forward to meet you all in person, and before that, even on one-on-one sessions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you also.
Thank you and goodbye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
It was very great.
Thank you very much.
Great presentation. Thank you.